All right. Hello there. How are you? Welcome to our live broadcast. If you're watching this video, you've been invited to join this live. Maybe you're watching the replay, and you've been on our email list. I wanted to talk to you this morning about the essentials. All right. Hello there. How are you? Welcome to our live broadcast. One second. If you're watching this video, you've been invited to join this live. Maybe you're watching. Sorry about that. A little background noise with my browser. One second. Let's fix this up. All right, here we go. So I wanted to come live here today, talk to you about the essentials. If you're on this live stream right now, or perhaps you're watching the replay, you're on our email list, and I wanted to invite you to a series of messages that are going to come to you over the next couple of weeks. And what I want to do is really get to the bottom line as to what it takes to succeed and live a better life, live the good life. Too many people are struggling out there trying to find their way. They're struggling and failing. They're pursuing things in all kinds of different directions and just don't seem to be getting ahead. And it's very frustrating, very confusing. And what ends up happening is you end up actually turning on yourself. So I want to explain to you over these next couple of weeks what it is you need to do. I want to get to kind of the bottom line. We're almost halfway through 2024. And you got to ask yourself, are things really getting better for you? Are you really progressing? Did you start out the year with these grand hopes and designs of things are going to be better and things are going to improve and I'm going to do this and I'm going to accomplish that? And we're 6 months into the year almost, and you might be at the exact same boat you started in the beginning of the year, maybe even last year or even the year before. Life is short. The clock, if I look at my clock, it keeps on ticking. Time just keeps on going by, and that's all we really have is time. And so we really got to get on the ball here because the rest of the year can go by pretty fast. And so what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about the five essentials that you need to focus on in order to live the good life, live a better life. And so there's five key things, these five essentials. Number one, you need a clearly defined purpose, or what they call your raison d'etre, the purpose and meaning to your life or existence. That's what they call it. This is the definition of raison d'etre, the purpose or meaning of the existence of your life. So you need a clearly defined purpose. A lot of people are searching for that, can't seem to find it. We're going to talk about why that is. Number two, you need clearly defined goals. Your mind is a goal seeking automatic machine. It's like a GPS on your phone and your maps. It's like the autopilot on a plane. In order for it to function properly and get you where you want to go to live a better life, you have to have clearly defined goals. Now, goals are overrated. They're over talked about. Everybody talks about goals, goals, goals. Why do people not have clearly defined goals? If you had a struggle coming up with clearly defined goals, or if you're resistant to kind of some of the bigger goals or the goals other people promise that you can achieve, I'll explain why that is well. Number three, you need a winner's image. You need a healthy self-image that lines up with your purpose and your goals. So a lot of people don't really know what their purpose is. Therefore, they have a difficult time setting goals. That's really the challenge of setting goals. If you don't have a clearly defined purpose, it's pretty hard to set goals. And of course, how do you create, a healthy self-image that's in line with your purpose and your goals if you don't have the answers to those first two essentials? Okay. Number four, you need a strong mindset. You need a strong mindset so you're not deterred by others' opinions or distractions or this pull to conform and fit in. So we really need to develop a really solid mindset that we can take, all the distractions and all the pulls on our attention and all the criticisms and all the judgment and all the comparing that you might be doing. And then number five is you need a definite plan backed by taking action. Those are the five essentials. So you need clearly defined purpose, a raison d'etre, clearly defined goals, a healthy self-image, a winner's image that lines up with your purpose and your goals, a definite plan back with action and a very strong mindset so that you don't get deterred. So why do so many people fail and struggle? Well, let's take a look in Think and Grow Rich. I love this book by Napoleon Hill. I know many of you have read it. If you haven't, I don't have time to explain the basis of this book, but suffice it to say, the author spent 30 years, 25, 30 years interviewing almost 25,000 people, trying to figure out what it took to be successful. And in the one of the chapters, he lists the 30 major causes of failure. So this is a great place to go to. And if you just kind of browse through some of the major causes of failure, you're probably going to relate. Number one, at the top of the list, unfavorable hereditary background. So maybe like me, maybe you come from an unfavorable background. We'll talk about that in a minute. I just mentioned this importance of purpose, lack of a well-defined purpose in life. I'll explain to you why you're having a hard time finding that, finding your calling. What else did he say? Lack of self-discipline, ill health, overeating, wrong habits, overindulgence of food, lack of exercise, unfavorable environmental influences during your childhood. As the twig is bent, how does he say it? So shall the tree grow. So a lot of people have negative tendencies as a result of a bad environment or bad association to others. He goes on here: procrastination, lack of persistence, negative personality, lack of well-defined power of decision, and it goes on and on. That's just up until 15. Overcaution, superstition and prejudice, lack of focused effort, lack of enthusiasm, on and on. What else is there here? Egotism and vanity, big one. Guessing instead of thinking, and on the list goes. And so these 30 major causes of failure, they're a great list to check yourself against. And that's primarily many of the reasons why people are failing. So what is the answer? How do you live the good life and get rid of all of the struggle? Let's first off look at why you're struggling. So I believe people fall into three categories. There's the 5% of people that they just make it look easy. It looks like life is easy. They set out each day and their lives with intention and purpose and goals, and they just really, really enjoy success. And then there's a 60% of the population that have gone through what I've gone through, maybe what you've gone through. And that's a pretty big number. 60% of adults have gone through what they call adverse childhood experiences. So he talked about that in the major causes of failure, right? Hereditary, poor background, poor influences as a kid. So chances are, if you're watching this, you might be one of that 60%. You might recall it. It might be blocked out, like I blocked it out. You might have some memories of it. You might recall some stories. You might not give it any more attention, but you have no idea how your past is dictating your future and disrupting your future and holding you back from incorporating these five essentials. So that 60% of what we call adverse childhood experiences is where, when you were young, from basically infant born 0 to 17, 18 years old, you experienced some form of abuse, neglect, or your environment, you witnessed some negative things, violence, mental health problems, divorce, different things were happening in your home or in your family. And then the other 35% or so that people didn't experience those adverse experiences, but yet they still grow up really not clear on who they are and why they're here and what their purpose and what their calling is. Now, why is that? Well, I think because we all suffer from what I call a mistaken identity. If you've been following me, I came out with my book last April. It's called Mistaken Identity, A Guide to Letting Go of a Past That's Holding You Back. And I believe, I know, it's your past that's holding you back. It's your past that's messing up your future. And it's your past that is blocking you from incorporating these five essentials. So if you're in that other 35%, well, chances are, you got led astray or you got led off track. Maybe your parents weren't, all that capable of guiding you and answering some of the fundamental questions you had when you were little about, who are you and what's right and what's wrong. Because when you were young, you got a lot of stuff drilled into you. You were told what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. It was rules, values, all these things got conditioned and programmed into you. Plus, there was a huge pressure or a requirement to conform, to fit in order to be liked and loved and validated, you would cave and you would fit in. And so 35% of the people have experienced a childhood where they grew up with this kind of second guessing, not quite sure, doubting themselves, not really confident, maybe a decent self-esteem, but a lot of questions. And then, of course, you start pursuing answer those questions, and chances are you might be looking in the wrong places. I spent 30 years trying to find the answers, 30 years pursuing the good life, pursuing success. And I did well in spite of my childhood and my background and my abuse. I not only survived, I actually thrived, but I was still doubting myself, second guessing myself, punishing myself, criticizing myself, making all kinds of mistakes, getting myself in trouble, wondering what the hell is wrong with me. And I discovered there was nothing wrong with me. There was just something wrong with how I saw myself. I had the wrong self-image. I didn't have a winner's self-image. I had a mistaken self-image, or early years, a very poor self-image. So that's basically why people struggle and why they're not able to incorporate these five essentials. But there is a cure. And I discovered it in an unconventional formula that has been here the whole time. Now, when I say unconventional, it's unconventional in that it's nothing new. In fact, it's quite old, and people have been talking about it for well over 100 years. But it's not really widely known or popular because the way that our mental health system went post-war and the beginning of consumerism, this idea of keeping up with the Joneses, conforming, fear of criticism, etc. We went down a different road. But I remember reading a book. I talk about this all the time. It was a book by the great Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And in that book, he said the fundamental problem we have today, now it's 1921, over 100 years ago, the fundamental problem we have today is people are trying to be somebody that they're not. It'd be a lot easier if they would just be themselves, but they strive and strain and struggle to be somebody that they're not. And it causes all kinds of psychoses, neuroses, and complexes, he said. Does that sound familiar? We, in our society today, people are dealing with way more neuroses, psychoses, and complex problems with their mental well-being. And it's all the fundamental issue is because they're trying to be somebody that they're not. And so you might be a victim to that as well. I often hear people say, I feel like a bit of an imposter. I feel like I'm faking it, I'm suffering from this imposter syndrome. Well, chances are you were conditioned and brought up not to be yourself, to fit in, to be something that fit in, follow the rules, stick to the rules, values, and judgments. And that's where you got off track. But there is a cure, and I discovered the cure. And the key really is to be yourself. And when you can be yourself, everything becomes really crystal clear. And so the cure resides actually in three steps. You have to know yourself, love yourself. Let's even just get to like yourself. Know yourself, like yourself, so that you can be yourself. That is the cure. Now, I've been talking to people for a couple of years now. My book came out a year ago, and as I had made my mind up that I was going to lay down a prescription and some instructions, a roadmap, how you could break free from fear of criticism and conformity, and you can actually figure out your true calling and your purpose, your raison d'etre. Too many people are trying to find their calling and find your purpose. You're going to waste your life doing that, right? The key to finding your calling and you're finding your purpose is it actually finds you, or you meet it when you become yourself. And so I put it together in my book, Mistaken Identity. And I wrote that, took about a year to put it all together, formulate everything that I had done into instruction manual, and then last April I released it. And I've worked with a lot of people. I've talked to literally thousands of people, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have read my book and reported amazing results and transformation by becoming their true self, their authentic self. People in the self-help world and online and social media, all these influencers talk about you got to become your authentic self. Well, how do you do that? They don't tell you how to do that. Well, I figure out how you need to do that. And so one of the reasons I'm doing these little lessons for you is because on Monday, June 17th, I am opening up our next small cohort for 45 days to an upgraded life. It's a transformation in 45 days to an upgraded life. And because you're on my email list, I wanted to talk to you and implore you, if your way's not working, try a different way. And so this is what we're going to do Monday, June 17th. If that interests you, there's my calendar below this video and you can book that. But let's talk more about the cure. Okay. So the cure to knowing yourself and liking yourself and being yourself, it takes 3 steps. So it's 3 steps for the cure and 3 steps to know yourself, like yourself, and be yourself. And it happens over the course of 3 phases. And I built my book and this 45-day instruction transformation I take you through. It's called Learn, Unlearn, and Relearn. So number one is you have to learn, okay, how did you get off track? You have to learn what is your mistaken identity. Who are you and who are you not? Okay. We've got to unlearn the ways that built up that self-image. So we got to learn where you got this maybe poor self-image. You have to learn why you don't know what your purpose is. We have to learn why do you have a hard time selecting and sticking to meaningful goals. You need to learn all that. What is your mistaken identity? How did you get it? And how is it controlling your life? And then we need to unlearn. So pretty much everything that you do, all your habits, all your beliefs, all your behaviors that are causing you problems is all because of that environment, that conditioning, that upbringing, and that program. So we have to unlearn it. Now, this can happen very, very fast. This is literally a transformation over 45 days. I work with you for 5 days a week live. We're together every day live, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. I take you through my book, which has 30 chapters, 30 steps, 30 almost like pills to a prescription that you take each day. And the last phase is called the relearn. And there's some basic fundamental principles that you need to relearn, which goes back to our 5 essentials. If you're still searching for the answers to get ahead and live the good life, you're going to have to follow these 5 essentials. Okay. So again, there are clearly defined purpose, that raison d'etre, clearly defined goals, a healthy self-image, a winner's image that lines up with your purpose and your goals, a strong mindset so you're not deterred by others. Your mind, as I mentioned earlier, it is a goal-seeking machine. It operates a certain way by certain rules and principles, quite simple rules and principles, not rules and principles that you learn. You were taught to spend too much time in the past and worry about your future and try to control how your future is going to unfold. And that's one of the reasons why you're struggling. And lastly, of course, you need a definite plan backed by action, but you're not really going to come up with a great plan if you don't take care of the first 5 essentials. So you can't lock into these essentials unless you get clear on who you are and who you're not. So on June 17th, we're going to start this 45-day transformation. I'm going to be here over the next couple of weeks bringing some more lessons to you. But like I said, the clock is ticking. Time goes by really fast. If you're still, searching for the answer to the good life, if you're looking for the cure to really break free once and for all, the key lies in becoming your authentic self, being yourself. And so if this resonates with you, click on the calendar below. Let's have a conversation. It's not going to turn into a sales call, but we can find out what's going on for you and if this 45-day transformation is what you need. So I hope that this little lesson helped. I hope you take some notes. If you're live here, great. Thank you for joining. If you're watching replay, thank you for watching. And I'll be back here in a couple of days with another lesson. Book that call. Let's have that conversation. It's not going to turn into a sales call. It's going to turn into a conversation about you and what you need to do in order to get clear on who you really are so you can live the good life. Thank you.